City Learners TV, learning made simple.
Welcome back to class. This is the City Learners TV and I am Samuel Adegoke. Okay, in the class today, we are going to be looking at computer science and we will focus on the computer memories and their uses. Computer science, but our focus will be on computer memories and their uses. Computer memories are vital components or parts of the computer system. Without them, we cannot store data. And without them, of course, processing may not also be possible. And you know, processing is the key function of the computer system. Computer processes data, changing it or converting it to meaningful form, which is called output, the information. Okay, so what are the computer memories? Computer memories are the hardware components. What do I mean by that? The physical part of computer we can see and touch, which are used for data storage, which are used for storing data in form of files, documents, musics, videos, text files or text documents, graphics, software, system settings like BIOS. So you can see how important uh, computer memories are. Computer memories are those parts of the computers that are responsible for storage. Whatever you are storing on the computer system, whether temporarily or permanently, you store them on the computer memories. And I have listed on the board some of the computer memories which I'm going to be explaining, and subsequently I will do videos comparing each of them with one another so that we understand more functions about them. The number one on the board is the hard disk drive. The hard disk drive or the solid state drive. The hard disk drive and the solid state drive are not the same device. They are not the same thing. Okay? The hard disk drive and the solid state drive are not the same thing, but they perform the same function. Okay, so what is a hard disk drive or the solid state drive? I'm going to be differentiating between them possibly in my subsequent video for clarity and better understanding. But in this video, I want to explain to you how they are used for the same purpose, for common purpose in computing. So hard disk drive is a permanent memory. Look at it here. This is the hard disk drive of a desktop computer, and this is the hard disk drive of a laptop. Okay, you can see their physical sizes. This one is smaller because laptop is smaller in shape and form. This one is bigger than this because it's the desktop hard disk drive, and desktop is bigger in shape and form compared to laptop computer. Both of them are hard disk drive. And please take note of this. Their physical sizes does not determine their size of storage. I repeat, their physical sizes, that this one is small and this one is big, does not mean that this one will be able to store larger file than this one. No. What determines their storage capacity? It's the unit of storage each of them possesses. For instance, this one in my hand here is 500 gigabyte capacity. This is 250 capacity. You can see this one will be able to store more file, more data than this. So don't look at their physical sizes. Their physical sizes does not determine the capacity of their storage. So this is what we call the hard disk drive. They are used for storing data permanently on the computer system. What does that mean? Let's assume you are working on word processing. You are using computer to process documents such as school examination question. You are typing using a word processor such as Microsoft Word, the popular Microsoft Word. And as you are typing your document into the computer system for processing, you are saving it. As you are saving it, that part of computer that accepts what you are saving, that helps you to store your data, so that even when you shut down your system, you can come back and retrieve your files. That part, that memory component, is the hard disk drive. So what does that mean? If I remove hard disk drive of a computer system, it simply means that whatever work or file or document that has been saved, including the operating system that has been saved on that computer system, will no longer be there, because operating systems, files, documents, and every other thing that you save on the computer system is on this device, on this component called the hard disk drive. Okay, so the function of hard disk drive is to help us to store our work on the computer permanently. And permanently simply means that even when your computer is off, you can still retrieve your work when you on the computer back to continue from where you stop. Okay, that is that about the hard disk drive. And before I proceed, solid state drive is the new technology gradually replacing the hard disk drive. They perform the same function, but the difference is this: the solid state drive, SSD, is faster when computer is processing data. It makes the processing more faster and smooth. The SSD enhances speed in processing. What do I mean by that? If I have a computer using hard disk drive and I have another computer using solid state drive, SSD, the processing speed of the computer using the SSD will be faster compared to the one using hard disk drive. That is just the difference. The SSD helps computer to process faster than the hard disk drive. And that is why this new technology, solid state drive, SSD, is replacing the hard disk drive. Okay? Random access memory. Random access memory. This is what we call random access memory. And of course, the one I'm putting here is for desktop computers. There are smaller sizes which are produced or manufactured to be used by laptop computers because of their smaller sizes and all that. Okay, this is random access memory. What is random access memory used for? Now, the random access memory is the link between the computer CPU, central processing unit, also called the processor. So the RAM is the link between the processor, the CPU, and the hard disk drive or SSD. The RAM is a temporary computer storage device. It's a temporary computer storage device in the sense that data are only stored on it when your computer is on. The moment you switch off your computer system, all that is saved on it will be erased immediately. The moment your computer is off, all the data and everything that is on RAM disappears. That is why we call it a temporary storage device. Okay? Don't forget I said it serves as a link between the computer processor, which is the CPU, and the hard disk drive or the SSD. What is the link function? Okay, anytime you are processing data, instead of the processor to fetch data directly from the hard disk drive or the SSD, the processor fetches data from RAM. So there's an amount of data that moves from your hard disk drive and SSD to RAM, so that the processor will not access the SSD or HDD directly, but access the RAM. RAM helps the processor to work faster on whatever we are using the computer to do. Data are fetched bit by bit from the hard disk drive or SSD to RAM, and then RAM is accessible directly by the processor. And that is why we say RAM is a temporary device, because data is only fetched and used on it when the computer is on. So that is the function of the RAM.